All right, we are getting these live visuals as well right now of Justice Surya Kant, who is to be sworn in just moments from now. You can see all those gathered there. This after Justice BR Gavai's term ended on the 23rd of November. In a short while from now, he will be sworn in as the 53rd Chief Justice of India. Now, for more on this, we have with us Ananya. Ananya, thank you so much for joining us. How significant is this appointment?
Absolutely, this is a very, very significant appointment. He is the 53rd Chief Justice of India and a testament, and in fact, he's a testament to hard work because, he's somebody he was not a lawyer, who does not come from, in fact, a legal background. He was somebody who was the son of a farmer and then went on to study law, became the youngest Advocate General of Haryana, and then, became a judge of the High Court, then, in fact, went to the Supreme Court, and now, finally, adorning the highest chair of Judiciary in the national capital. He will be swearing in as the 53rd Chief Justice of India. He also spoke to us exclusively in a text interview and went on to say that adorning this chair is, in fact, a testament to how, democracy, the kind of opportunities that democracy has to offer. And very clearly, he was very, very clear as about his first leg of CJI ship. He says that, his major goal would be to curb down pendency. A collaborative mechanism is being brought in with, in fact, the High Courts and the lower judiciary also under the picture in order to curb down the all India pendency. And he will also be looking at various other things, but pendency remains to be first of his priorities. Apart from that, he also speaks that, his USP as far as being the Chief Justice is concerned, he is somebody who has seen who's seen, in fact, the farmland, who has been in rural India, and every decision that he takes comes from where he had started, and always is something that he will remember the times that he has seen, and that is why he is more empathetic, and that's clearly visible when he's in the court and also witnessing, in fact, any kind of a proceeding thereof itself.
Absolutely. You mentioned his journey as well. He began his legal journey in Hisar in 84 before moving to Chandigarh to practice before the Punjab and Haryana High Court as well. Now, it is a big moment. We are going to see that swearing in, that oath taking that is going to happen. That has begun now. These are the live visuals that we are getting right now. All right, and there you can see on your screens right now, President Droupadi Murmu is also present there. Justice Surya Kant will take oath as the 53rd Chief Justice of India, marking the beginning of his 14-month tenure. President Droupadi Murmu will administer the oath of office to Justice Kant.
आपकी अनुमति हो तो आज के समारोह का शुभारंभ किया जाए। भारत के मुख्य न्यायमूर्ति श्री सूर्य कांत।
मैं सूर्य कांत
जो भारत के उच्चतम न्यायालय का मुख्य न्यायमूर्ति नियुक्त हुआ हूँ,
जो भारत के उच्चतम न्यायालय का मुख्य न्यायमूर्ति नियुक्त हुआ हूँ,
ईश्वर की शपथ लेता हूँ
ईश्वर की शपथ लेता हूँ
कि मैं विधि द्वारा स्थापित भारत के संविधान के प्रति
कि मैं विधि द्वारा स्थापित भारत के संविधान के प्रति
सच्ची श्रद्धा और निष्ठा रखूंगा।
सच्ची श्रद्धा और निष्ठा रखूंगा।
मैं भारत की प्रभुता और अखंडता अक्षुण्ण रखूंगा
मैं भारत की प्रभुता और अखंडता अक्षुण्ण रखूंगा
तथा मैं सम्यक प्रकार से और श्रद्धापूर्वक तथा अपनी पूरी योग्यता, ज्ञान और विवेक से
तथा मैं सम्यक प्रकार से और श्रद्धापूर्वक तथा अपनी पूरी योग्यता, ज्ञान और विवेक से
अपने पद के कर्तव्यों का भय या पक्षपात, अनुराग या द्वेष के बिना पालन करूंगा।
भय या पक्षपात, अनुराग या द्वेष के बिना पालन करूंगा
तथा मैं संविधान और विधियों की मर्यादा बनाए रखूंगा
तथा मैं संविधान और विधियों की मर्यादा बनाए रखूंगा।
All right, and with that, Justice Surya Kant has taken oath as the 53rd Chief Justice of India. He is taking over from incumbent Chief Justice of India, BR Gavai. The President had earlier also appointed Justice Surya Kant as the next Chief Justice of India in exercise of the powers conferred by Clause 2 of Article 124, following the recommendation of CJI Gavai. Justice Surya Kant, born in a middle-class family in Haryana, began his legal journey back in Hisar before moving to Chandigarh to practice before the Punjab and the Haryana High Court. Over the years, he's handled a broad spectrum of constitutional services and civil matters. He's represented many universities, boards, corporations, and even the High Court itself. These are the live visuals that we're getting right now. President Droupadi Murmu has administered the oath of office to Justice Kant, who is succeeding CJI BR Gavai. Justice Kant, as I mentioned earlier, has handled a broad spectrum of constitutional service and civil matters. He's represented universities, boards, and the High Court itself. He has served before the Punjab and Haryana High Court as well. For more on this, we have Ananya live with us. Ananya, thank you so much for staying on with us. Of course, the oath of office has been administered. Justice Surya Kant is now the Chief Justice of India, the 53rd. We were talking about his journey, which began from Hisar, when he was then serving before the Punjab and Haryana High Court. What can you tell us? What is his tenure going to be marked by? What are some of the priorities that we know of?
Well, absolutely. He spoke to us exclusively in a text interview and went on to clearly state that, his first and foremost priority is to bring down that pendency of 90,000 cases, and he is trying and developing mechanisms not only for case management but also docket management in order to get cases listed faster and also, in fact, for disposals to happen faster. He also says that there is a collaborative mechanism that is being developed with the High Courts and the lower judiciary in order to bring down pendency, and that is his first focus completely, is what Justice Surya Kant has gone on to say. His journey, has been from the farmlands of Hisar. He was born in a middle-class family, studied in fact, the village school, then went on to become the youngest, in fact, Advocate General of Haryana while he was practicing in Chandigarh at the Punjab and Haryana High Court, then went on to become a judge of the High Court, and then, adorning the chair of the Supreme Court judge, and finally today taking oath as the 53rd Chief Justice of India, somebody who we've seen personally also is a very, very humble and somebody who's very calm when he's on the bench. He's always empathetic towards the kind of litigant that comes to his court. In fact, we have seen in many cases that he speaks to them in their native language in order to understand the grief or and completely shows that empathy while doing justice, and that's something that makes him unique. And when we spoke to him and asked him that as to what is your USP as the 53rd Chief Justice of India, he went on to say that I've come from a very humble background, and that is something that would always reflect in my decisions, because the kind of days I have seen, I would want to do justice to everybody and see that nobody is left empty-handed when he comes to my court. And that is something that zeal and that compassion has always continued with Justice Surya Kant now taking over as the 53rd Chief Justice of India. Definitely some changes would be coming in. He says that we should have a Swadeshi court, we should shift from it, because when the British era courts were actually created, in fact we are celebrating 75 years of the Supreme Court as well. So those were courts in the British era were for the imperials, were for the Britishers, but the Indian courts must have a kind of inclusivity. They should be more accessible to the people, and the justice should reach the last is what the goal of Justice Surya Kant is. So definitely we might see a lot of changes. In fact, we saw one with the Justice BR Gavai and Justice Surya Kant delivering that 5-judge bench, constitution bench judgment in the governor case, and they say that no kind of a foreign judgment has been referred by them, only and only Indian cases were referred. So this is a small step towards the Swadeshi court, and now he also is very, very vocal for a Swadeshi court. So definitely we might see a lot of changes coming in as far as the Supreme Court is concerned, but definitely a big testament to what democracy, and I quote Justice Surya Kant in that particular interview, that my adorning the chair as the 53rd Chief Justice of India is an example and a testament as to the kind of opportunities that democracy has to offer, and that is what he told us while he was speaking to us in an exclusive conversation before taking an oath.
Absolutely, and I really want to focus on that exclusive conversation as well, and I want to take our viewers through some of the highlights in this that he must have mentioned. What sort of an overhaul going forward, judicial overhaul, are we likely to see in his tenure, if there are any clues that he's given for that in our exclusive conversation as well?
Well, absolutely. He was talking about the pendency. See, the first few months of his tenure would go into curbing down pendency, though there would be other aspects also. We had asked him that whether he would like to speak on the kind of collegium overhauls, or if at all he wants to make certain changes into that. But he says that, that would be the next priority of his. But the first and foremost priority is the pendency of cases, and that is what he's looking at this particular moment. 90,000 was, in fact, the disposal rate at that particular point of time. He wants to bring that bring the number of cases that are filed in the Supreme Court to minimal, so that the pendency can actually be reduced. And pendency remains to be one of the key problems as far as the Indian judiciary is concerned. But definitely he also speaks about how artificial intelligence could be the way forward in helping in order for case management, or probably giving a kind of a technological overhaul to the Supreme Court. So we'll have to wait for some time to know the details as to what kind of plans Justice Surya Kant has in mind. But definitely as my personal view, or somebody who knows him very personally, very clearly it seems it is very clearly seen that he's very empathetic towards the litigant, and that is something that compassion brings and comes to be seen in every court proceeding that he takes, because he's very empathetic. There are various cases where people from different parts of the country come in, and he tries to speak to them in local languages in order to understand their problems, and then give out a solution, or probably try to do complete justice. And that is how Justice Surya Kant is. So definitely there would be a more accessible court that we could see in the near future. And he says that inclusivity is something that needs to be drawn, if at all we are talking about a complete Indian or Swadeshi court as possible.
Absolutely. Some of the important things to note here, his mention of a Swadeshi court as well. He's also said that he will be engaging with high courts to identify the various problems which affect the functioning of district and subordinate courts as well. And he's also mentioned that he will be focusing on strengthening alternative dispute resolution mechanisms. I just wanted to know what we can see with regard to that.
Well, as far as ADR is concerned, the alternate dispute resolution, he wants to push for mediation as much as can happen, because they have been, India is trying to project itself as a mediation arbitration hub, and the government too is very clear about this. There have been the Delhi Arbitration Week concluded a few months ago, and Hyderabad is also becoming a kind of arbitration center in India. Delhi is already one, and India is projecting itself as an arbitration hub as far as South Asia is concerned. And Justice Surya Kant also says, and we had asked him that in an interaction that he had with the media persons, wherein he very clearly went on to say that, I would engage with the government to actually see, because the government becomes to be a very large litigator. There are a lot of appeals that the government files, and if at all there is a mediation route that can actually be established for the government as well, then it would become a much more easier processes. That we might have lesser burdens on the court, and that is something that remains to be on his card. How well would he be able to do it is something that only time would be the testament to it. But at this particular point of time, he's very clear. For the first leg is for pendency. The other things would also be prioritized, but pendency is something that he needs to curb down.
All right, well, Ananya, thank you so much for bringing us all the information on this. Of course, what is tenure?